This one is called Sasquatch Thwarts Rape Attack. Sarah in Portland, Oregon wrote to Beyond the Darkness with an interesting Sasquatch encounter. This comes from phantomsandmonsters.com. And they actually put out a lot of cool books about cryptozoological encounters, UFOs, all that kind of stuff. It's great. I've actually purchased a few of their books and read a few stories right here on the old Pottercaster. So I'm going to delve into this. This isn't my story, but because I'm a frustrated anthropologist, frustrated because I can't find a job in my field, I'm trying to keep my skills sharp by collecting other people's stories. I live in Portland, Oregon, and in my neighborhood, word has gotten around to my neighbors that I'm always open for a story. A lot of them are pure gossip, and I'm saving them for a paper on microstatus changes in progressive neighborhoods. Exciting stuff for us eggheads, but occasionally I get more unusual stories. Hopefully I remember to ask for all the pertinent questions. My neighbor, we'll call her Annie, is an avid outdoors woman. Ever since I moved to the neighborhood, which is about 10 years ago, every weekend and holiday, she was off somewhere hiking in the mountains, forest, or high desert plateau. Then suddenly, last September, she sold off her camping and climbing gear. After a month of being a homebody and took up windsurfing, in January, she knocked on my door and asked if I wanted a strange story. I could tell that something was eating at her, and I invited her in, having just put on a pot of tea. One pot of tea and a plate of gingerbread cookies later, I had the whole story out of her. Back in September, she had gone hiking on one of those last beautiful days before winter and the rains, back in the deep country of the Columbia River Gorge. She told me the exact location, but I don't feel right about releasing the information. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
What's the worst that can happen?
Several hours into the hike, she started to notice a distant stinking smell like rotting eggs and manure. Because she was hiking along a small seasonal creek, she thought maybe something like a deer had disturbed some skunk in the area. It was a little late in the season for skunk cabbage, but not impossibly so. Annie said that the stink didn't dissipate for about 20 minutes. Then it was gone. As the trail climbed to a higher elevation, she began to feel she was being watched. Because she still had miles to go before she reached the campsite, she didn't stop but remained alert, as mountain lions are known to be in the area. She went on for about 10 minutes. Then, as she was coming around the boulder, someone grabbed her by the shoulders and threw her to the ground. Stunned and with the wind knocked out of her, she lay there for a moment when a short fellow with facial tattoos and a machete threatened her and shouted at her in Spanish. We have a problem with undocumented immigrant gangs growing Mary Jane in the backwoods. Most of it cleared up when Washington State and Oregon legalized recreational weed, but gangs still grow for the purpose of selling in Idaho. Annie didn't speak any Spanish, but thought the guy was going to rape and kill her, given that he straddled her and grabbed her shirt and tried to rip it off of her.
Of course, it's a Mexican.
Yes, of course, in the backwoods of Oregon.
Yes,
but not giving the exact location, though. Yeah. That's when the most horrific roar came from the bushes, so loud that Annie said she could feel it reverberate in her chest. That's also when she initially placed the height about 10 feet tall. Later, she said it may have only been 8 feet. Hairy person grabbed the guy on top of her and threw him into the trees. Perhaps, needlessly to say, Annie didn't stick around. She ran down the trail until she collapsed about an hour out from her car.
The hell is she doing in the woods an hour away from her car?
When she came around...
That's a long time.
When she came around, she was laid out on the trail, head covered in leaf litter. I'm not sure what leaf litter is. She swears she was too far away from the trailhead when she passed out, and she certainly wouldn't have placed She certainly wouldn't have had the peace of mind to cover herself in leaves. It was getting on to be twilight at that point, so she limped to her car and drove back to Portland. The next day is when she sold all of her camping and climbing gear. I asked her if she had noticed a smell during the attack. I asked her what she felt and what possibly saved her, but basically, this person just tried to prod Annie to say what it was, and she swears that Sasquatch, aka Bigfoot, saved her from being raped by a drug-growing immigrant.
I think it's a regret sex is what it sounds like to me.
This is the first I've heard of a do-gooder Sasquatch. Mm-hmm. We've read stories on the show before of a woman having sex with a Sasquatch in a marijuana field. We've had reports of people seeing Sasquatch or hearing Sasquatch rustle around in the woods, or possibly attack livestock or do something like this. This is the first instance where I've seen super Bigfoot.
Yeah, and you got to throw these Mexicans into the trees where they belong.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we now know that the Bigfoot doesn't like Mexicans. He detests them and throws them at every chance. These Sasquatch are quite racist.
Yeah, they hate Mexicans. They all voted for Trump. I think he got all of the Sasquatch vote.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big lead.
Where in California, they'll just give you a license if you're a Sasquatch.
Mm-hmm. I like this story because there's an interaction that is protective in its nature. Like the Sasquatch has a high enough reasoning or intellect that it recognized that one person was in danger and it was about to be raped and killed by another person, so it tried to protect the woman. I like that element of it, but at a certain point in time, wouldn't that? I know she was probably scared out of her mind, but would curiosity or fear take over you in that instance, Joe? I would have to, even if I was running away, I would turn around and go, holy shit, did I really just see a Bigfoot save my ass? I would have to turn around and take a look. It's so unusual.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we talk about like everybody's got a goddamn camera in their pocket. If you're running away, even if you are mortified that the Mexican got thrown into a tree and Bigfoot did it and you almost got raped, like it might be nice for posterity to have a picture of that situation. But I guess, hey, I've heard that women walk around with the fear of being raped because apparently 1 in 4 women are being raped on campus. So they probably don't have time to fuck around with all the rapes that are happening to them.
I don't know. I'm just surprised that she would be so cavalier to go hiking by herself an hour hike away from her car. Maybe
she stopped an hour away from her car, which meant she might have been like 2 or 3 hours away from the,
Yeah, we don't know where she was trying to get to the campsite, and then she turned around. Yeah, it's just dangerous. It doesn't have a lot of good logic and safety precautions in mind here. Maybe she was so comfortable with the outdoors that she took it for granted and didn't take enough equipment with her. She didn't have a GPS tracker. She didn't have a GoPro that she was filming. I don't know.
That's what I do. When I go camping, I don't want to remember anything, especially when I go to really nice camp places. I just don't take any pictures. I don't want to know who's with me. I don't want any sunsets, sunrises. All of that shit is bullcrap. I go to be completely away from any reliable documentation of anything.
I do the same thing. I asked my one of my best friends to actually chloroform me and then to drop me in the middle of the woods at 3:00 in the morning.
That's the only way to camp.
Yeah, that's how I camp. And I'm also naked, and he gives me a toothbrush. That's it.
Well, you never know if you're going to need to make out with a Bigfoot in the middle of the woods.
Well, yeah, you want that fresh breath.
Yeah.
First impressions are very important.
Very important. I like that Bigfoot he's helping people. It makes me think that if we ever can get one of these goddamn Bigfoots in a net and capture them, then we need to make like micro Bigfoots to have as pets so that they can save you from all the Mexican rapists that Trump is try to fight for us.
I want Bigfoot to do my taxes. I don't want to do it. Save me from the IRS.
Yeah, I know.
Bigfoot.
I know. You need a pygmy Bigfoot
Just
to do this.
An accountant. It's just so complicated. Please.
We will train your Bigfoot to do your taxes.
Yeah, they're playing the park ranger out there. Why don't you play my accountant, motherfucker?
It's a potbelly Bigfoot.
I'm tired of doing taxes, bitch. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I tell you, pimp so good.
Yeah.
They do.
All right, let's get off Bigfoot.
You going to jail.
Not yet.